Ice Cube, you see the headline from TMZ. Sorry, Angel Reese, the $5 million offer was only for Caitlin Clark.
Ice Cube just dropped a blunt business reality check that caught a lot of people off guard. The founder of the Big Three made it clear that Angel Reese isn't getting any $5 million offers like Caitlin Clark did, simply because sponsors don't.
It's about to get ugly. With the Big Three's $5 million offer to Caitlin Clark never coming to fruition, could a lucrative Angel Reese proposal be up next for the Hoops League? Tell me you don't know ball. I mean, honestly, don't count on it.
View her as the same kind of draw. His comments sparked strong and predictable reactions, with many debating whether he was just being honest or unnecessarily harsh. In the world of sports, it seems like even stating basic business facts can quickly become controversial. The situation
because Ice Cube has come out and given everybody some brutal truth, and there is a portion of this that just tells you everything that we've been telling you. This is just confirmation. And what's hilarious is this is confirmation from the people that want to pay the money. Sponsors.
Folded when TMZ caught up with Ice Cube at LAX and asked him whether Angel Reese might get a deal similar to Caitlin Clark's.
With Ice Cube himself at LAX this week, and the Big Three honcho said that there will be no deal put in front of Angel Reese.
Cube didn't hold back. He explained that the $5 million offer made to Clark was driven by strong assurances from sponsors. Assurances that her presence in the league would generate major revenue. He emphasized that the offer wasn't arbitrary. It was based on projected returns, sponsor feedback, and her market appeal. However, when it came to Angel Reese, those same assurances didn't come through. Sponsors didn't say she would bring the same level of revenue or viewership. So, from a business standpoint, the Big Three couldn't justify offering the same deal. Ice Cube stressed that he had no personal issue with Reese, respects her talent, but that this is about dollars and cents. And while that may seem harsh, it's how professionals.
Listen, man, you guys dropped Big Three again. This is a new season. I remember you famously made an offer to Caitlin Clark, but what about Angel Reese? Would you think she could ball out? You know, she's pretty solid, you know?
Yeah, she's a great player. You know, the thing with Caitlin Clark, it was just to unlock millions of dollars for the league because of her stardom, what our sponsors was telling us.
Right.
You know, they didn't tell us the same thing about Angel Reese, so I don't know if we can make that sense.
Sports work. Still, his comments ignited a wave of backlash. The part that really triggered people was when he said sponsors didn't believe Angel Reese was the same kind of draw as Caitlin Clark. That honest take, rooted in business logic, was suddenly treated like an offensive statement. But Ice Cube wasn't attacking anyone. He was describing the financial reality of sports investments. The Big Three, like any league, has to think in terms of revenue. Ticket sales, merchandise, TV ratings, and sponsor value. They're not in the business of handing out multi-million-dollar contracts without serious confidence in returns. What's telling is that no one is really disputing his logic. People are upset simply because he said it out loud. There's a desire for equality in recognition and treatment, which is understandable, but ignoring the hard numbers won't change how business works. The offer to Caitlin Clark was backed by market data.
I see. So, maybe an adjusted amount?
I think we can make that same offer because it won't have the same impact to the league.
It's all smart moves. I see you that's what you do.
No.
Yeah.
Well, person.
This is the new season. What are you most excited for? Like, you know, maybe some new players or some new opportunities?
Yeah, we got some great players. You know, Lance Stevenson, Dwight Howard. It's great. Wesley Johnson's been great. Montrezl Harrell been great. You know, the league has been, it's been must-see TV.
And expectations of high revenue. She was expected to play just 8 regular season games and potentially 2 playoff games. That's how strong her market value was perceived. In contrast, Angel Reese hasn't been positioned the same way by sponsors. Ice Cube just said what many behind the scenes already know. Not every player generates the same business interest, and pretending otherwise won't make it true. The reality is that sports is a business, and like any business, decisions are made based on return on investment. If sponsors aren't confident that a particular player can generate significant revenue, then offering them multi-million-dollar contracts simply doesn't make financial sense. It's not personal, it's just math. Yet, acknowledging
for the Nuggets, but it's a pretty lengthy explanation as to why Caitlin Clark got a $5 million offer from Ice Cube's Big Three League. Now, I got to tell you, I'm not big on 3-on-3 basketball, but I am guilty of watching this league from time to time because, well, it's kind of a throwback to old school basketball, and it's physical, and there's big guys, and it's entertaining. At times, I've found it more entertaining than the NBA. Now, Ice Cube threw a big offer out to Caitlin Clark, and he believes she entertained it. However, he also believes he was blocked from literally being able to set down
this basic business. Truth is somehow being twisted into a personal attack on Angel Reese. People are reacting as if Ice Cube insulted her abilities or character, when in fact, all he did was explain why the business case doesn't support offering her the same deal Caitlin Clark received. These are two completely separate issues. One is about market appeal and revenue potential. The other is about performance on the court. This whole situation underscores something many observers of women's basketball have been pointing out. For a while, there are clear differences in marketability and fan appeal between players. The data doesn't lie, and neither does Ice Cube. Look at the metrics, game attendance, television ratings, and social media engagement. There are obvious disparities when it comes to which players attract the most attention and drive the most.
I'm hearing right now, seething. He explained he's got no issues with the Chicago Sky forward. It's just the dollars and cents.
Revenue. Recognizing this isn't disrespectful, it's simply an honest assessment of the market. Caitlin Clark received a $5 million offer from the Big Three because she had already demonstrated a remarkable ability to draw viewers and fill arenas. During her college career, her games shattered ratings records, tickets sold out nationwide, and sponsors lined up
for Ice Cube. They're about to come and get Ice Cube. We know how this works. It won't be long. But the AR5 fans will seek and destroy, or try to, because that's standard operating procedure for them, Ice Cube
to be associated with her brand. That kind of performance justifies a major financial investment. When other players are compared to that benchmark, the numbers just don't stack up in the same way. Again, it's not a matter of who's better at basketball, it's about who can bring in revenue. And that's a completely different skill set. The business world knows how to differentiate between athletic skill and market appeal, even if some fans don't want to accept that. What's actually refreshing in all of this is Ice Cube's honesty. In an industry where most people stick to scripted, corporate-friendly talking points, he chose to speak openly about how these decisions are made. He could have played it safe and given a bland, diplomatic response about valuing all players equally, but instead, he gave a real answer. And it's important to understand that he's not making these decisions in a vacuum. Sponsors are the ones running the numbers, organizing focus groups, and evaluating which athletes are most likely to boost sales and increase viewership. Ice Cube is simply relaying the reality they've presented to him, yet he's being criticized for delivering the message. The irony is that many of the same voices upset by his comments are the ones constantly calling for the WNBA and women's sports in general to become more business savvy and financially sustainable. Well, this is what that actually looks like. Business-minded decisions involve placing investments where they are most likely to pay off. The Big Three has experienced considerable success because it operates with this business-first mindset. Ice Cube isn't running a charities, managing a professional league that needs to generate income to pay players and stay afloat. The timing of his remarks is also significant, given the ongoing conversations around salaries and market value in women's basketball. Everyone wants to see players earn more money, but those salaries have to come from somewhere. If a player isn't generating enough revenue, then massive salary offers are hard to justify. Ultimately, this entire controversy draws attention to a larger truth in professional sports. Being a great basketball player and being a marketable star are two different things. A player can dominate on the court and still not have the broad appeal necessary to sell out arenas or drive ratings. That's the harsh but honest reality of the business side of sports. Caitlin Clark injury drama just took a wild turn. Is she back for real, or is it just mind games? For a moment, it looked like Caitlin Clark was packing her bags for Europe, sidelined by a groin injury that had fans and analysts in a frenzy. Medical consultations, whispered updates, and intense speculation took over the headlines. Then almost out of nowhere, Clark casually returns to Indiana Fever practice, looking as sharp as ever. The basketball community is in absolute shock, and rival teams are likely experiencing cold sweats right about now. Her presence changes everything. She didn't just show up, she showed up ready, fully geared, bouncing, cutting, jumping, moving with precision. It wasn't the body language of someone nursing a serious injury. It was the body language of someone sending a message. I'm not done. Now here's the big question. Is Caitlin Clark truly prepared for a full-force comeback, or is this an elaborate smokescreen orchestrated by the Indiana Fever? Let's be brutally honest, this injury saga has been an emotional roller coaster no one could have predicted. 1 week, she's torching defenders in her second pro season, and the next, rumors of groin injuries and specialist appointments across the country are spreading like wildfire. Some even went as far as suggesting a possible move to Europe if things didn't improve. Can you imagine that? The WNBA losing its biggest star in the middle of her prime, but just when the noise reached its peak, and many were ready to write her season off. Clark pulled the ultimate plot twist. She stepped back onto the court like nothing had ever happened. Footage captured by Scott Agnes's of Fieldhouse Files went viral instantly. There she was, fully dressed, locked in, explosive in movement. It was a slap in the face to anyone who doubted her return. Of course, we all know practice and competitive gameplay are two entirely different beasts, but symbolically, this return to practice is massive. For her team, and for every WNBA team that had secretly started adjusting their strategies, assuming her absence. The Fever's decision to keep everything hush-hush added to the injury timeline. No public medical updates, no clear communication, just silence. And that silence sent ripples through the league. Coaches were recalibrating defensive schemes, analysts were reimagining matchups, and rival players were breathing a little easier. With Caitlin Clark potentially out of the equation, opposing teams likely felt a sense of relief. They could afford to ease up on certain coverage. They could take calculated risks without the looming threat of Clark draining at half-court 3. Then came the footage. Boom, everything flipped. Opponents now must revert back to full alert mode. They have to game plan again for one of the most dynamic players women's basketball has ever seen. Clark's influence on the court goes well beyond scoring. She's a walking chess piece that forces opposing teams to rethink their entire defensive philosophy. Leave her open, and she'll punish you. Focus too much on her, and she'll find the open teammate. She manipulates defenses like a maestro, controls an orchestra, and let's not downplay the psychological warfare her presence brings. Even if she's not operating at 100% capacity, just her being on the court is intimidating. Her track record, her media presence, her record-shattering career, all of it plays in the minds of her opponents. Every defender knows that one misstep, one lapse in focus, and she'll make them pay in the most embarrassing way possible. The timing of this entire situation couldn't have been more dramatic. Just as the Fever were finding rhythm and fans were getting excited, her injury halted the momentum. But sometimes setbacks work in strange ways. That break might have given her time to recalibrate both mentally and physically. It's also worth noting, she didn't treat her recovery like a vacation. Those cross-country visits to medical specialists weren't just for optics. They prove she's serious about her health and determined to return stronger, not just healed. That kind of commitment is exactly what separates great athletes from legends. And then there were the European rumors, by far the most fascinating subplot. The mere idea of Clark taking her talents abroad had fans and experts spiraling. Yes, Europe offers solid competition and attractive paychecks. But let's be honest, Caitlin Clark belongs in the WNBA, and the WNBA needs Caitlin Clark. She's not just a player, she's a marketing powerhouse, a ratings boost, and the face of the league's future. Losing her overseas would have been catastrophic for a league that's still fighting for attention, respect, and revenue now that she's back in practice. Everything resets. The Indiana Fever can start building their strategy around her again. Fans have a reason to rally, and the rest of the WNBA. They're back in defensive mode, bracing themselves for another round of high trio performances and three-point daggers. While the footage is encouraging, the true test will come when the lights are on and the pressure's real. Can she withstand the physicality of elite competition? Can she perform without hesitation or second-guessing her body? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Caitlin Clark is not going quietly.